Europe affects us in our everyday lives now in Europeans.
Dobro došli u našu Jugu.
Welcome to Yugoslavia. It may be a greeting you don't hear anymore, but for Sveto Trinini, he says it daily. He's the caretaker for Yugoland, a mini Yugoslavia recreated in northern Serbia. While today's bad weather has kept visitors away, Trinini says people come from all over, especially from the 6 former Yugoslav republics. Street signs, posters, and statues pay tribute to Josip Broz, better known as Tito, the man who ruled Yugoslavia for 35 years.
Here we see how Tito was received throughout the world. China, Korea, Algeria, welcomed wherever he went, by young and old, with flowers.
This is the man who created mini Yugoslavia. Blasko Gabric spent 13 years in Canada but came back in 1980 just before Tito died. He started building his mini theme park 6 years ago in the northern town of Subotica. But why pay tribute to Tito, who was a dictator and whose socialist policies left the country bankrupt by the time of his death? Gabric disagrees and says life was better back then. He blames both nationalist politics and a lack of Western support for the breakup of Yugoslavia, a country of 23 million people.
They want to make United Europe, and we had United Balkan. Why did they destroy United Balkan? Subotica city, where you are today. We have 20 different national lives in our country, in our city. 63 years, united, in peace. We married in between. I'm Yugoslav. Why? Because our 4 grandparents are 8 different nations. And they married each other and they live in harmony. That's I call United Europe. The biggest United Europe was in Yugoslavia. And they said that's artificial. What will be today Europe?
Subotica is the second largest city in the region of Vojvodina. Like Kosovo, it was granted autonomy in 1974 when Tito changed the constitution. And like Kosovo, it lost much of that autonomy during Milosevic's regime. But analysts say the comparisons should stop there. By the time Yugoslavia broke up in the 90s, Kosovo was already mostly Albanian. Vojvodina's ethnic makeup is mixed. Serbs are still the majority, even if Subotica has a large Hungarian minority. Yet Serbia goes to the polls on the 11th of May. The elections are widely seen as a political boxing match, with the pro-EU parties blamed for signing away Kosovo in one corner, and in the other one the pro-Russian Radical Party, feared by some it will take Serbia backwards, with a more nationalist approach which could threaten Vojvodina's autonomy once again. It was restored after Milosevic was ousted. But for the mayor of Subotica, despite the uncertain times, he's convinced most Serbs want to put the past behind them and aren't Yugo-nostalgic.
We're worried about these national elections. I'm not sure they will bring anything good. In the past, we believed things would go better. But the form Yugo-nostalgia is taking, the amusement park image, is a bit ridiculous. Former Yugoslavs can still help each other. Relations can be good. History will not be repeated.
This is the Cortigan Cafe in Belgrade. It's filled with Tito and Yugoslav memorabilia. Its clients are mostly young, their school is next door, and the food and beer are good and cheap. But for this man, Tito's legacy is more than just a few souvenir trinkets. Stevan Mirkovic is a former general of the Yugoslav army. He also heads Serbia's Tito Center. It's an NGO with branches throughout the former Yugoslav republics. He hopes to make it a political party.
This association cultivates tradition, therefore saving that epoch from oblivion. We chose the name Tito as it makes it easier to explain to people what we aspire to. When you tell them about socialism and self-management, it's a long story. But if you tell them we support what there was in Tito's time, the work becomes clearer, easier.
But do Serbs really want to return to Yugoslavia and Tito's politics? Most, of course, say no. But there is an attraction for nostalgia in a city and a country that still bears the physical scars from wars it blames not only on its politicians, But on an international community, it claims has let it down, Kosovo being the final disappointment. But what about Yugo-nostalgia and other former republics? Vladimir Arsenijevic is a writer. He's also a co-editor of a book called The Lexicon of Yugoslav Mythology. It's a collection of people's memories, both good and bad.
You don't really think about, political events when you think about past. You think about things that you have experienced yourself. So for me and for people who turn back to Yugoslavia as something which had some kind of value, which needs to be preserved, it's not about being nostalgic. And this is maybe why the term is really not precise enough. It's kind of like a duty that we really need to remember certain things that kind of like shaped this country with all the errors and everything.
Memories are especially strong for Zlatica and Joska Brods. The brother and sister said they were raised by their grandfather after their parents' divorce. Tito is buried at this mausoleum in Belgrade called the House of Flowers. Zlatica says more people come to visit the mausoleum today than they did 15 years ago. She says they come to remember a time when a Yugoslav passport gave you the freedom to travel everywhere in the world and a security which no longer exists.
We, in the end, at that time, we were a small European Union, so to speak, a country with several languages, several republics and nationalities without borders. We used to be far more united. That's what people feel even today, what they yearn for, what they miss.
But if Yugoslavia was so wonderful, why did it fall apart? Most historians say the answer lies with Tito, whose personality and politics kept Yugoslavia together but also led to its destruction. He chose to ignore nationalist sentiments seething throughout the country. But Tito's grandson defends his memory.
It's not politics anymore. It's only a fair, buying and selling. It has nothing to do with politics. What it all amounts to here is just blackmail, even to get into the European Union. And so we're divided into two groups, East and West, the way it was before, and which Tito managed to avoid. It's that division which prevails in this country today.
Since his death almost 30 years ago, Tito's legacy has both been honored and rejected. And today, Serbs, like the others who knew Yugoslavia, are divided over how to remember a time and a place which no longer exists.